Namaste, you're on The Nation at 5. I'm Anand Narsimhan and we begin with the big news coming through. It's a follow-through of our story on Friday which talked about that it was not just Jamtara, the entire Simanchal belt where this Jumma holiday was being practiced against the norms as listed by the state government and in violation of the law itself that was said. And the fact is it had become an unwritten law, and even schools that were not designated as Urdu schools had been following this Jumma holiday practice, much against the wishes of not just the teachers but also a lot of the students. Now, following this, the state government in Bihar said that they are apprised of the matter and that they have sent out queries to get a report, a detailed report on the reality on ground and as to how this was being practiced. What we gave you information at CNN News 18 was that about almost 500 schools across multiple regions in Simanchal which were following this practice, and how it had become an unwritten law or code was the bigger question. Now we have accessed far more details in this entire aspect. These Friday holidays that were froze, a contravention of law, like I said. Now, after our report, the Bihar and Jharkhand governments have said that they are taking swift action. But the larger question is, they have still not. Jharkhand issued a notice that you have to get back to the status quo, get back to the original format of Sunday holidays till the time the report is sought and a particular policy is put in place. But in Bihar, no such notification so far has been issued too. Let's listen into what the Deputy Chief Minister had to say.
मैं गया था किशनगंज और सीमांचल रीजन में मैं घूम के आया. वहाँ पे लगभग स्कूल्स अराउंड मोर देन 500
इसके लिए मैं बता रहा हूँ ना कि जो प्रशासनिक विभाग है, शिक्षा विभाग है, और शिक्षा विभाग के अपने मापदंड हैं कि छुट्टियां कब होगी, साप्ताहिक छुट्टी कब होगी. ये सारी चीज पूर्व से तय है और माननीय शिक्षा मंत्री ने इन सारी चीजों को जांच का निर्देश भी दिया है.
बट सर, ये वर्बल ऑर्डर दिया गया है, कोई रिटन नोटिस या फिर ऑर्डर नहीं?
तो ये देखिए, सरकार के अपने नियम है और नियमों से हमारा शासन और प्रशासन चलता है.
लिखित निर्देश क्यों नहीं दिए?
देखिए, सरकार की ओर से तो स्पष्ट निर्देश है कि कब साप्ताहिक छुट्टी होगी, किस पर्व त्योहार की छुट्टी होगी. ये तो शिक्षा विभाग इस सारे मामले को देखे.
तो रिपोर्ट आने के बाद हम एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं कि कार्रवाई होगी. जो
निश्चित तौर पर अगर कोई सरकार के नियम के जो नियम निर्देशित है उसके खिलाफ अगर कोई काम होगा तो स्वाभाविक है कि सरकार आवश्यक कार्रवाई करेगी.
अभी विस्तृत रिपोर्ट आई नहीं है. वैसे हमने जो पूछा था तो उन लोगों ने बताया कि ये इस तरह की कार्रवाई पिछले कई दशकों से चल रही है, लंबे समय से चल रही है. तो हमने इसीलिए कहा है कि आप इसकी विस्तृत पड़ताल कर लीजिए, जांच कर लीजिए कि ये कब से हो रही है और किस परिप्रेक्ष्य में हो रही है, और उसका विस्तृत प्रतिवेदन दीजिए. तब हम लोग उस पर जो नियम संगत निर्णय होगा वो लेंगे.
Now we've got more news coming through, and this is something which is startling, ladies and gentlemen. CNN News 18 has accessed how this practice has been running for years, but there were orders from the highest authorities which are now being violated. These orders are dated 2012, and if my memory serves me right, that was also a time when the JDU was in power in Bihar. This was issued by the former governor Devanand Kanwar, and the directive is to employees of the state, mentions a special break of 2 hours for Jumma prayers. However, despite this, the Friday off continued. Now, this is what it says. शुक्रवार के दिन जुम्मे नमाज हेतु विशेष अनुमति प्रदान किए जाने के संबंध में मुस्लिम सरकारी सेवकों की ब्रिटिश काल से ही शुक्रवार के दिन दोपहर में जुम्मे की नमाज मस्जिदों के सामूहिक रूप में अदा करने हेतु कार्यालय में अनुपस्थित रहने की विशेष अनुमति प्राप्त है. उक्त अनुमति अवधि परिवर्तन हेतु जन शिकायत के माध्यम से अनुरोध प्राप्त हुए हैं. सो व्हाट दे हैव टर्न्ड अराउंड एंड सेड, मुस्लिम सरकारी सेवक प्रत्येक शुक्रवार 12:30 से 2:30 बजे तक अवधि पर उपभोग जुम्मा की नमाज अदा करने हेतु कर सकेंगे. चूंकि इस अवधि में भोजनावकाश की अवधि भी निर्धारित है, ऐसे में सरकारी सेवकों से अलग भोजनावकाश अनुमान्य नहीं होगा. शिक्षा संस्थानों एवं गैर सरकारी संस्थानों में जुम्मे की नमाज हेतु इस प्रकार के विदेश अनुमति संबंधित संस्थानों के सक्षम प्राधिकारों द्वारा दिया जा सकेगा. सो दिस इज व्हाट हैज बीन सेड. clearly that even in educational institutions, it's not about an off on Fridays or Jumma, but it is a special provision of a longer extended lunch break from 12:30 to 2:30, where you can perform the prayers and also have your lunch and come back to work or come back to school. So this is a 2012 order dated the 20th of July 2012. And it is issued in Patna, Bihar Sarkar Samanya Prashasan Vibhag, and that it is Bihar Rajyapal ke Adesh se signed by the governor. So this is the order that is issued in Bihar, but for the last 10 years, there has been a brazen violation and disregard to this very order. So this is not a fresh issue. This has been raised in the past, and this is what has said that there will be no holiday on Friday. Saurabh is joining us with more details on this. Saurabh, so this order clearly states that even educational institutions, they can work with this relaxation of 2 hours, 12:30 to 2:30, which is a lunch cum prayer break.
Yes, Anand, and before that, I would like to give you the latest update in this issue. I just talked to DEO, District Education Officer of Purnea. He gave me the figures which are startling. He gave me the figure of 9 blocks out of 14 blocks, and he said that there were 325 schools alone in Purnea which are closed on Fridays. So this number of 500 is absolutely going to touch around 1,000 if we say. So this is the latest update from one district. The report is getting ready. All the district of the Simanchal region are preparing the report of the schools. Now if we talk about particularly about this notice which came in 2012, see, there is a larger picture about it, because the schools that were opened in 1900s, like in the 19th century, 1901, 1950.
Saurabh, just wait with me. I have Sunil Singh of the JDU with us. Sunil Singh ji, namaste. This is Anand Narsimhan. We're speaking after a while. Trust all is well at your end. Let me ask you, but what is happening in Bihar, sir? 325 schools alone in Purnea, and this is only 9 out of the 14 blocks that we've got the update. More than 500 schools in the Simanchal region are following this Friday off or Jumme ke din chutti policy in government schools, against an order which was issued in 2012 under the JDU government by the governor then, saying that Friday you will have a 2-hour break for prayer and lunch. Nothing else, no holiday.
Anand, take it in this perspective that Nitish government is committed to this social and communal harmony in the state. And moreover, Nitish government is too concerned with the education of the kids. So in a few places, the Simanchal area of Bihar, the particular community are more in number, they are in majority. And on the Friday, their kids can't go to school. Their kids can't go to school because of their own difficulties. So if the schooling is on Sunday and not on Friday, how does it matter? Our purpose is that kids should get educated, and that is all. And there is no constitutional obligation towards it.
No, but on what? But there is no official order regarding the same. These schools are not even Urdu designated schools. These are government schools, and the government order under the JDU government 10 years ago says very clearly, no holiday on Friday. It's just an extended break that you will get 12:30 to 2:30. So on whose orders and whose permission is this being allowed, sir?
For the administration to decide. I'm not an inquiring officer that I can tell you about all these things. It's for the government to take the call. So where was the order? Who did not follow the orders? It's not our lookout. Our lookout is one thing that if we say...
No, it is your lookout because you are in power, sir. Because you are in power, it is your lookout that is violation of the order. It is the JDU's lookout, and the JDU so far has not even issued an order which says that you revert back to Sunday holiday immediately. That's the standard operating procedure until and unless you get a specific leeway. Because that's what the Bihar Education Act says, and that's what this notice also says. This is issued by the governor, and at that time the Naveen Chandra Jha has signed this. Bihar Rajyapal ke Adesh se signed 27/2012, which very clearly says कि 2:30 बजे से 12:30 बजे से 2:30 बजे तक का बीच का आपको ये मिलेगा break to have your lunch and to offer the Jumma namaz. And this applies to Shiksha Sansthan also and गैर सरकारी संस्थानों के लिए भी. This is the order. Naval Kishore ji of RJD is with us. Naval Kishore ji.
One second, I'm not done with Anand right now. You tell me one thing, if the central minister is so concerned about the Friday closure in Bihar schools, so if the Jammu and Kashmir is centrally governed, it's in present too. why don't the central government, if the...
Sir, why should it be the central government? Each state has to pass its own laws. It is passed under the Bihar Act 1956, 1964, if my memory serves me right. No, sir, we are talking about Bihar. Sir, if it is a state order, if the state government has given permission to these schools and you have designated them as Urdu schools, then it's a different matter. These are government schools. And there we have done on-ground investigations to Dr. Sunil Singh, and very clearly the parents, the teachers, the students all want chutti on Sunday. I have Vijay Kumar Chaudhary ji, Bihar Education Minister, with me on the phone line. Vijay Kumar ji, namaste. ये आपके 2012 में जब जदयू की सरकार थी तब नोटिफिकेशन है कि जुम्मे के दिन 2 घंटे की ब्रेक होगी, छुट्टी नहीं होगी। पर अब पता लग रहा है कि पूर्णिया में ही 325 स्कूल ऐसे हैं जो जुम्मे के दिन छुट्टी कर रहे हैं।
वो कब से छुट्टी दे रहे हैं यही तो अभी नहीं पता चल रहा है। ये आप ग्राउंड रिपोर्ट लिए हैं तो ये आपको रिपोर्ट मिला है कब से ये छुट्टी चल रही है? तो इसलिए हम कह रहे हैं कि कोई हम आपसे सवाल नहीं पूछ रहे हैं, हम सिर्फ ये सिचुएशन बता रहे हैं कि हम लोग को जिस समय इस बात की सूचना मिली, हम लोगों ने उन सभी जो हमारे डिस्ट्रिक्ट ऑफिसर हैं उनसे हमने रिपोर्ट मांगी है कि ये छुट्टी कब से चल रही है, और वो अभी अपने रिकॉर्ड से वेरीफाई कर रहे हैं और वेरीफाई करके पूरा डिटेल रिपोर्ट भेजेंगे। और जब वो डिटेल रिपोर्ट भेज देंगे फिर अकॉर्डिंगली जो नियम संगत होगा, जो रेगुलर चीज होगी, वो विभाग और सरकार करेगी।
पर विजय कुमार जी, आपके 2012 का गवर्नमेंट का जो ऑर्डर है वो कहता है कि शुक्रवार के दिन जुम्मे नमाज हेतु विशेष अनुमति प्रदान किए जाने के संबंध में ये नोटिफिकेशन है जो कहता है शिक्षा संस्थान और गैर सरकारी संस्थान भी 2 घंटे का ब्रेक देंगे।
नहीं, वो उसमें कहाँ पे दिक्कत है? वो जहाँ पे माइनॉरिटी डोमिनेटेड नहीं का इलाका है, वहां पर अगर कोई माइनॉरिटी स्कूल के माइनॉरिटी के बच्चे हैं, ये उनके लिए भी एप्लीकेबल हो सकता है।
नहीं,
और सबसे बड़ी बात है कि जुमे के दिन 2 घंटे की छुट्टी देने का तो ये तो जनरल हर जगह लागू होता है हमारे।
हाँ, तो पर यही नियम लागू है। इन स्कूलों को आपने कोई विशेष अनुमति नहीं दी है कि आप जुम्मे के दिन छुट्टी कर सकते हैं, और जहाँ ये मुस्लिम बहुल इलाके हैं वहाँ हिंदू समाज क्या करे? हिंदू समाज के लिए क्या प्रावधान है? क्योंकि वहाँ तो हिंदू अल्पसंख्यक हैं, इसका तो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट ने कोई प्रावधान नहीं किया।
आप हमारी बात पूरी सुन कहाँ रहे हैं?
जी बोलिए।
मेरी तो पूरी बात सुनिए कि हम कहाँ कह रहे हैं आपको कि किसके लिए कौन क्या प्रावधान किया है। हम यही तो आपको बता रहे हैं कि हमने अभी तक जो उनसे जानकारी मांगी है, जो किस परिस्थिति में ऐसा हो रहा है, उनका कहना है कि पिछले कई वर्षों से, और जब हम कई वर्षों कह रहे हैं उसका मतलब डिकेड्स है कि ये हो रहा है, तो हमने कहा है कि आप पूरे रिकॉर्ड्स वेरीफाई करके बताइए जो ये किसके आदेश से और कब से हो रहा है। और
पर जब तक रिपोर्ट तैयार नहीं होगी तब तक
रिपोर्ट आ जाती है, फिर अकॉर्डिंगली जो रेगुलर होगा, जो नियम संगत होगा, वही होगा। ठीक है,
पर तब तक तो आपको संडे को छुट्टी कर देनी चाहिए ना। तब तक ये नियम संगत तो नहीं हो रहा। Vijay Kumar ji seems to have kept the phone down, but the simple question, Saurabh, and I'm going to have Dr. Sunil Singh also with me and Naval Kishore of the RJD also with us. Naval Kishore ji, there is no order, so then how is this being allowed?
नहीं, अभी आपने जो सुना उसमें तो दोनों चीज बातें कही जा रही है ना। अगर हो रहा है तो इसकी जानकारी नहीं है, उसकी सूचना लेने का कोशिश किया जा रहा है। लेकिन मेरा सवाल ये है, मेरा ऑब्जर्वेशन ये है कि आप इन चीजों को हिंदू और मुस्लिम में लाने का क्यों कोशिश कर रहे हैं? क्या जो सरकार है बिहार में उसमें भाजपा नहीं है? क्या उसे पहले से इसकी जानकारी नहीं है? क्या वो केवल फायदा लेना चाहती है और जब भी मौका मिले तो सोसाइटी को कम्युनलाइज करना चाहती है?
नवल किशोर जी,
नहीं,
प्रश्न सिर्फ किसी एक व्यक्ति, जिसकी भी सरकार है, सरकार प्रश्न तो ये है कि अगर जहां पर आप ये कह रहे हैं कि जहां मुस्लिम बहुल इलाके हैं वहां जुम्मे के दिन छुट्टी होगी, तो वहां हिंदू अल्पसंख्यक हुए तो उनके राइट्स का क्या, वो किस दिन छुट्टी लें? और अगर ऐसा कोई नियम बना है तो क्या वो स्टेट के द्वारा सैंक्शनड है? क्या इन स्कूलों को राज्य ने अधिकृत किया है कि वो जुम्मे के दिन छुट्टी कर लें? पूर्णिया में 325 स्कूल हैं, पूरे सीमांचल में 500 से ज्यादा स्कूल हैं जो अपने मर्जी की चला रहे हैं। तो फिर मैं आपसे पूछ रहा हूं कि जहां हिंदू बहुल है तो क्या हिंदू फिर मंगलवार को छुट्टी करना शुरू कर दें? तो राज्य की जो नियमावली है, जो वहां का जो लॉ है, उसका कोई अनुपालन ना करे?
पहले तो देखिए, जो सवाल आप पूछ रहे हैं उसका कॉन्टेक्स्ट और पृष्ठभूमि ही गलत है। आप किसी घटना को आप पूरे धर्म से जोड़ कर देख रहे हैं, आपको मालूम है?
नहीं, वो धर्म के आधार पर ही तो हो रहा है। नहीं, धर्म, नवल किशोर जी, साज को आज क्या धर्म के आधार पर ही हो रहा है? आपने अभी क्या कहा, जहां मुस्लिम बहुल इलाके हैं वहां जुम्मे के दिन छुट्टी हो रही है, तो फिर वो धर्म के आधार पर हो रहा है। मैं ये पूछ रहा हूं, क्या राज्य सरकार ने इसकी अनुमति दी है? मैं आपसे पूछ रहा हूं, आप क्या इसको बैक करते हैं?
आपका गाइडेंस जो है ना, या तो नागपुर से है, नहीं तो बीजेपी के कार्यालय से है। इसी तरह
देखिए, मेरा गाइडेंस किसी से भी हो, मेरा गाइडेंस ये 2012 के ऑर्डर से है सर। 2012 का ऑर्डर कहता है 2 घंटे का ब्रेक होगा, उससे आगे छुट्टी नहीं होगी। मैं पूछ रहा हूं, 500 से ज्यादा स्कूल छुट्टियां कर रहे हैं, कैसे कर रहे हैं, किसके बेसिस पे कर रहे हैं? तो हर कोई क्या अपने अपने नियम बना सकता है बिहार में? हर स्कूल अपने अपने नियम बनाएगा?
आपने जिस तरह की पत्रकारिता का परिचय दे रहे हैं, उसका यही है कि आप सवाल वही पूछ रहे हैं।
देखिए, आप मेरे पर व्यक्तिगत आक्षेप कर रहे हैं, उससे ज्यादा है कि आप एक पोजीशन लीजिए। आप वहां पर विपक्ष हैं, क्या सरकार की तरफ से ऑर्डर जारी किया जाना चाहिए? क्या नियमों का पालन होना चाहिए? आप बतौर विपक्ष क्या पोजीशन लेते हैं? आप बतौर विपक्ष, आपका पोजीशन क्या है? आपको लगता है जो हो रहा है ठीक हो रहा है? विषय पर आप जवाब दे सकते हैं तो जवाब दीजिए। मुझ पर व्यक्तिगत टिप्पणी करने से आपको कुछ नहीं मिलेगा।
क्या शर्माते हैं या डरते हो? आप क्यों नहीं पूछ रहे हो भाजपा से?
देखिए, अभी आपके साथ फोन पर कौन था? फोन पर वहां के बिहार के एजुकेशन मंत्री थे। अभी आपके साथ कौन था फोन पर? सरकार की तरफ से ही सवाल पूछे जा रहे हैं। सरकार जिसकी है, मंत्री पद जिसका है, सवाल उससे पूछे जाएंगे। हमें किसी से सवाल पूछने में कोई डर नहीं है। और दूसरी बात, नवल किशोर जी, अगर आप अपनी बात नहीं रख सकते तो मुझ पर व्यक्तिगत आक्षेप ना करें। मैं सिर्फ नियम की बात कर रहा हूं। आप नियम को समझ सकते हैं, नियम को सुन सकते हैं। नियम क्या है, आप मुझे ये बताइए नवल किशोर जी, नियम क्या है? नियम क्या होना चाहिए? आप मुझे ये बताइए, नियम क्या होना चाहिए? नवल किशोर जी, इफ यू कैन नॉट आंसर माय क्वेश्चन, देन आई एम गोइंग टू आस्क डॉक्टर सुनील सिंह। डॉक्टर सुनील सिंह, शुड द रूल अप्लाई टू एवरीबडी इक्वली? Should the rule of law apply to everybody equally? Should the rules of the state and the State's Education Act apply to everybody equally? Or is each school free to do what it wants to do in Bihar?
Anand, first let me complete my sentence. You were talking about, let me wisen you that in state universities, there is duty of Apni and Pratipada. So they have to their own conveniences, they duty and sits in the calendar. An honorable minister has specifically said that he is seeking information on this episode, and the thing, whatever which is lacking, it will be done accordingly. I think it puts the matter to rest. And in the background, the beneficiary, the kids want to go to school. They have difficulty in going to school on Fridays, so they want to go on Sunday. And nobody else.
Sir, so what about those students who want to go to school on Friday and who want their holidays on Sunday? We have spoken to parents, we have spoken to teachers who are saying that everybody else has an off on Sunday. We are forced to take a holiday on Friday. When other children are out playing, our children have to go to school, and when my family has got a holiday, I have to come to work. We have them on record, sir. Now my point is, sir, does this have government sanction, sir? Can every school decide their holidays based on what they want to do, or should there be a government notification? Should these schools be designated Urdu schools before they take a decision like this? Because then otherwise the justification is that if these schools have Muslim majority students or majority of students are Muslim, they can have their own rules. So does that apply to those schools where majority of students are Hindus, or majority of students are Sikhs, or majority of students are Christians? Does that rule apply unilaterally to every section of society, sir? Then in Bihar,
don't about it. He will do it as per the law. And what you are saying, if the guardians of any minority or the majority communities, they have something to say, that will be taken
sir,
into account.
in Simanchal, in Purnea, in these schools, sir, Muslim students are more. They are the majority, more than 70%. So who's the minority in these areas? So whose rights have to be protected?
All the guardians, their opinion, their things will be taken care of in the report that
sir, why are you skirting my straightforward question, Mr. Sunil Singh? Dr. Sunil Singh, I'm asking a simple question. If in these areas in Simanchal, you are saying the unwritten law is because they are Muslim majority students, they want holiday on Friday. So I'm asking you, in schools where majority of the students are Christian, will you decide that they can take their holiday on Sunday? And then majority of schools where in schools where majority of the students are Hindus, they can take their holiday on Tuesdays or on any other day that they deem fit. Is that how it's going to run in Bihar? Because that's how it's been running over 500 schools, sir, nearly a decade.
Anand, students are students. Don't put a division line as per which students is Hindu and which student is Muslim.
Sir, I am on, Dr. Sunil Singh, I am on the same page as you are. Then who is deciding this on ground if it is not the students? Who's deciding this, that on these days, in these areas, schools will be closed on Friday?
Whatever the situation, Honorable Minister has sought report on the minutest truth and minutest facts. And after the taking...
So then why isn't the government saying that till the time the report is sought, all holidays on these schools will be on Sundays? Because that's the standard practice as per the notification of the government.
Maybe you have got a point that government will take into account, of course. But on the kids are...
They have still not issued that order, sir, more than 72 hours after this story coming to light.
To the education in the state, and we want more and more kids to go to school. That is all. The intention is that the beneficiary of kids going to school should be more and more, and majority of the students faces difficulty on going to school on Friday.
Dr. Sunil Singh, I hope you can you believe what you are saying right now, sir? That in areas where the Muslim population is the majority, the Muslim population will decide which day will be the holiday. And in the areas where the Muslim population is the minority, they will get the rights to suit their convenience because they are the minority. That's the rule that you are underlining, and you are trying to say that this is all right.
We don't see with the classes that you see. We don't see with that classes. We just want that the students are students.
Sir, when I asked you the question, you said students find it inconvenient. When I asked you the counter question, you said don't bring in the students. Why, sir? Why this different measure of yardstick? Then you should say that in any school where Hindus are majority, let them decide when they want their holiday. In any school where Sikhs or Christians are majority, let them decide when their holiday. And in any school where Muslim students are majority, then let them decide their holiday. But is that the rule of the state government? That is not the rule of the state government. So then how is this being practiced on ground?
Anand, I totally differ with you. I don't divide the students on the basis of the religion or the caste. Students are students. We want more and more students to go to the school and become wiser people and asset to the state. So the more and more people can go to in the Simanchal area, where a particular community is more in number, the more the students are facing difficulty on going to school on Friday.
They will make their own rules without the state government sanction. They will make their own rules without the state government sanction. Dr. Sunil Singh, can you believe it? You're saying that where a particular section of society becomes majority, they will define the rules and the state will allow them to follow, define whatever rules they want. So then, sir, does that rule apply to every other section of society wherever they are majority, sir?
You see with that viewpoint?
No, that's exactly what you're saying. That's exactly what you're saying, Dr. Sunil Singh. Sir, I've got more news coming through. The NCPCR has taken cognizance about what is happening in Bihar, and they have asked the Chief Secretary of Bihar about the status of these schools, seeking a report within 10 days. I'm going to go back to Saurabh. Saurabh, why is everybody skirting the issue? They say don't blame it on the students. You have spoken to parents, you have spoken to students, you have spoken to teachers who are saying that this rule is being forced upon us, and we would rather like that there is a uniform holiday for everybody.
I mean, I would like to cite one simple example. The day I went over there in Kishanganj, there was a school in Mahesh Bathna village, which is in Kishanganj only. And in that school, the teachers and the coordinators, everybody, and the villagers also, it was a Hindu village, and that school had 70% of Hindu students studying over there, and they were observing Friday. I was doing live on that day. What about those 70% students who are imposing the law of closing schools on Friday to Hindu students who don't need to go to Jumma prayers or anything? And in fact, the other school which I reported, the teachers, I remember the name Tabassum, she was adamant that they have, given so many applications to district education officers, went to district magistrates for Sunday offs, but all their requests have been to the deaf ears. So, this has been going on, and specifically, if we talk about that school in Mahesh Bhathana, which was in a Hindu village, that the land of that school was donated by one Baharuddin in 1955, and since then the practice of giving offs on Friday, just because it was the land of a Muslim, the practice of giving offs started on Friday, and it's still continuing. So what about the rights of those 70% students who are Hindus studying in that school, which is a Hindu village?
Well, absolutely, and these concerns remain. And there seems to be a certain effort to try and drag their feet and hope that this entire issue dies down and they are able to get away with this. More than 500 schools operating on their own particular whim and fancy and how they would want to run the school without government sanction. Violation of the government order that was passed more than a decade ago, and none's the wiser. How is that possible? We'll continue to track this story closely as the number of schools which are flouting the norms and following this practice of holiday on Fridays in this entire Simanchal belt is only increasing by the day. In just 9 of the 14 blocks in Purnea, Saurabh just tells us more than 325 schools are following this practice already. Moving on, I thank Dr. Singh, Naval Kishore for joining us, and Saurabh for your inputs on this story. Moving on, and we turn the spotlight away from Bihar and straight into Maharashtra, where it's a huge trouble that is now mounting for Sanjay Raut and the Uddhav Thackeray faction of the Shiv Sena. Sanjay Raut, after being questioned for nearly 17 hours, has been taken into custody and has also been sent into remand of the Enforcement Directorate by the courts till the 4th of August. With the courts actually observing that prima facie there is evidence against Sanjay Raut. And under the actions of PMLA, and these are the complaints, the court has very clearly said, the Enforcement Directorate has turned around and said that we have also seized 11.5 lakh rupees in cash and non-cooperation with the answers. These were the grounds for seeking remand. They have also, sources tell us, stumbled upon incriminating documents, property documents of which they were not aware, and now they're going to figure out and find out the source of funding for these properties and these that are held by Mr. Sanjay Raut and his near and dear ones. And they're all linked to him. There are payments also, money more than a decade ago, nearly 83 lakh rupees credited to his wife's account, and also him being paid about 1.6 crores. There are many issues. This is a Patra Chawl issue dating back to sometime around 2010. Vinaya Deshpande joins us with more details. Vinaya, increasingly, the pressure seems to be mounting on the Uddhav Thackeray faction of the Shiv Sena, with Uddhav Thackeray saying they are all out to get us, aiming at the Enforcement Directorate and the BJP. But the court saying prima facie there is evidence against Sanjay Raut.
Well, yes, the court has made some very serious observations, Anand. The court has said prima facie evidence against Sanjay Raut, but the court has also said that these are old cases in which much of the evidence is already in public domain through the trial, through the charge sheets which have been filed, and that is why there is no need for a very long custodial interrogation as well. Because remember, the Enforcement Directorate had sought 8 days custody of Sanjay Raut, claiming that he wasn't cooperating with the agencies, claiming that there was incriminating evidence against him. Now, the ED has also argued in the court that it was the Raut family which was the primary beneficiary of the Patra Chawl case, and that in fact, though Praveen Raut's name, Praveen Raut, who's already under arrest in this case, who was arrested quite some time ago, the ED today said that this person was just a front man, and that it was at the behest of Sanjay Raut that all the developments were taking place. So serious allegations there by the ED. The remand application states several issues that have been brought forth through the FIRs which are registered since 2017. The court took everything of it into cognizance, said that prima facie there was evidence against Sanjay Raut, but also said that much of the evidence that has been brought forth by the ED is old, which is something that is already in public domain, and which is something that has been a part of trial through charge sheets which have been passed in the past as well. And that is why there is no need of a very long custodial interrogation. Now the court is slated to hear the matter again on 4th of August when the custody ends. Anand.
Well, thank you for your inputs, Vinay. I have Chandrasekhar Nene and Swapnil Kothari joining us. Now, this is the remand copy that we have access to, and there are some points which say very clearly, they say out of the POC of 112 crores approximately received in the accounts of Shri Praveen Raut, PMLA investigation conducted so far established a trail of POC of rupees 1.06 crore to Shri Sanjay Raut and his family. PMLA investigation further revealed that Sanjay Raut has utilized considerable amount of cash in the purchase of land at Kihim in Alibag, which was confirmed by some of the sellers. This cash component has been sourced from Praveen Raut. Praveen Raut has also spent money from the POC on domestic and foreign tours undertaken by the family of Sanjay Raut. And Sanjay Raut also received 2 lakhs in cash per month from Praveen during the said period. So this is what they are saying. But the bigger question is, Swapnil Kothari, this is an old case. Why are you waking up to it nearly 12 years later? Is there merit in the allegation that's been made that this is deliberately being done to finish off the Uddhav faction of the Shiv Sena?
Anand, I don't think that is the case. The PMLA Act does not provide for any such time when you have to wake up. It says that if you have the evidence, when you have the evidence which is incriminating enough to go ahead and interrogate a person, then to arrest and then to seek custody, so be it, you are supposed to do it. And the very fact is, Anand, I was on another channel while this was being discussed and argued. The Defence Counsel did not have much to argue except the fact that there's election at hand, the presidential elections were there, the timing is inappropriate, it is political vendetta, why dig up old cases. So all those arguments are given usually by a Defence Counsel when there is very little merit in those arguments, when there is no cogent defence. Otherwise, the defence would be that no, 1.6 crores is legitimate, 37 lakhs was just given as some sort of a charity or something. Why 2 lakhs per month was there? No such answers were there at all for any of those monetary transactions. So there was no quantifiable or a justifiable defence at all for any of those allegations which are being made by the Enforcement Directorate, and hence the custody has been given by the court of law. So the point is, Anand, here that PMLA money laundering is a very huge issue, and it's like supposedly a 1,000 crore scam. You already have Mr. Praveen Raut inside. Obviously, you will need Mr. Sanjay Raut because there was him being the primary beneficiary, that is Mr. Praveen Raut. Money flowed from him to Mr. Sanjay Raut allegedly, as stated by the Enforcement Directorate in the ECIR. So obviously, the Enforcement Directorate wants the two of them together within themselves before them, so that when both the answers are given, who answers what. Whether it's answered in a proper manner, this manner, whether somebody dodges the question. So you can kind of put two of them together and see that what they have to answer after putting them, both of them individually. And I'm sure more arrests are going to be made, Anand, in this. It's not going to stop here because it's a very, very deep 1,000 crore scam. Don't take place with only the hands of two people, because obviously there's some building faction involved, some, lot many other corporators, etc. are involved in this. So obviously this is not stopping here. I see it going further.
No, but they have taken nearly 12 years to get to even Mr. Sanjay Raut, Chandrasekhar Nene ji. So what does this imply? What does this imply? And of course, will you take into consideration what Ajit Pawar had to say yesterday when he said that the ED will not investigate unless it has got something, and it is the ED's job to investigate and Mr. Sanjay Raut's job to answer?
In fact, there are two conclusions to be drawn from this. A, Ajit Pawar was very correct in saying that ED will not take a case unless they have a complete proofs in their hand, because we have seen that the people who go in jail with ED are not coming out. We have seen the examples of Nawab Malik and Anil Deshmukh. So ED will not jump in unless they have a complete proof. Second point is, very importantly, Ajit Pawar has completely dissociated himself from Sanjay Raut's future. He has not even said once that it has been political vendetta, blah, 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 because everybody else is trying political vendetta. Ajit Pawar has completely said nothing of that sort. He has merely given a fact, and the fact is very right. What really is important in this is that, I was really surprised when I found that he was being paid 2 lakhs per month. In fact, this Praveen Raut and his company were supposed to pay 40,000 per month per tenant for the 672 tenancies which they had evicted. Instead of that, he is paying Sanjay Raut, so at least 5 tenant families could have been accommodated in this 2 lakhs. Look at the complete ignominiousness of this case. All those were middle-class Marathi people, and they are being defrauded by this person who claims to be a champion of Marathi people in the Maharashtra state. This is what needs to come out to see how frugal these people are, how completely artificial these people are when they talk about Marathi Manus. They are defrauding Marathi Manus merrily without any problem, buying lands here and there. This connection has been already established by the ED, that this money which came in Sanjay Raut's account has gone in to purchase those land. So I think this is very despicable of Sanjay Raut and for Shiv Sena to keep supporting him even after defraudment of a Marathi Manus, and that to middle class Marathi people.
Right, Swapnil Kothari and Chandrasekhar Nene ji, thank you very much for joining us here on this story. We've got to take a very short break here on The Nation at 5. Stay with us.